Alright, so today's hero video is going to be on Warp Mage. I've sort of messed the hero timing video up as far as my Warp Mage is 5 stars, not the 3 stars I usually like to do this video at. Gear level's purple one, so right on there, but stats wise you're going to have to tone down some stuff here. So attack, you're going to be looking at about 8 to 900 attack. As well as health-wise, 7,000 to 8,000 health, so a fairly high attack. I'd say, yeah, really high attack, a mid-range health, but the high attack is kind of due to the low attack speed. We have 0.3 attacks per second, so that's gonna kind of hurt there, but that's why we have a higher attack speed. And then Warp Mage is a backline attacking hero, and those tend not to try and do the massive damage from basic attacks and rely more on skills, which is why there's a 10 energy gain here, which we'll get onto that in just a second. So the white skill for Warp Mage, Chakra Bolt. Warp Mage looses a bolt of unstable energy through the spiritual center of her closest enemy, so it kind of works just like Princess Portal's skill. It starts at one enemy, and then it continues to pass through each enemy, and it doesn't say when it stops. It kind of looks like it goes through all the enemies, but each enemy it goes through does penetrating damage, so it ignores any shields, plus absorbs any new aspects along the way. So when it absorbs an aspect, it can adapt to the aspect. So say the first hero this bolt targets is a Fury hero, and then the second hero is a Focus hero, so the bolt will change to the Fury aspect since it absorbed it from passing through the Fury enemy hero, and then it does extra 25% damage to that hero, to the Focus hero it's attacking, and then also absorbs that aspect. And so the bolt kind of is a smart bolt, I want to say, and it will choose aspects based on what can do the most damage to the enemy, and so that's really helpful for you there, as well as each aspect it absorbs, it deals extra damage. So of the 3, it can get a nice little boost of damage, and then all of this entire skill, the bolt passing through each enemy, and the bonus damage per aspects is increased by leveling up the skill, and then also just leveling up your hero in general. So like I maxed the stars, upgrading the gear, leveling this hero, all of that will contribute to firing this skill off and doing more damage. I can't remember which, but one is orange, depending on, I guess I can find out real quick. Okay, yellow, I believe it's yellow. Let's test that though. 682, no, okay, so your skill is your orange one right here, and then everything else upgraded, like the level of the hero, stuff like that, will be this yellow addition right there. Then on to the next skill, Bigger Mortis. So as well as having a super high energy generation, if Warp Mage happens to kill a person from this skill, gets an extra 70 energy, and then even if she has 0 energy after she kills an enemy, it only takes 3 seconds to finish capping that out. So an awesome energy boost. One problem is with this, you need to make sure you have it leveled up, which I do not, but you need to have this the highest level that you're using your Warp Mage in order to be able to guarantee gaining that energy, because if you're fighting against enemies with a higher level than this skill, there's a chance for it to completely fail, and Warp Mage will get no bonus energy from killing the enemies, so keep that in mind. And then this blue skill, Warp Monkless, when attacked, instead of taking damage, Warp Mage creates a clone of herself and teleports to another location in the back line. Her clone's basic attacks will damage people, scaling with, again, level and skill level. Then dealing an area of effect damage when it dies. It can only create one clone at a time and only last for that wave. So basically, Warp Mage is going to try and be the last person standing on your back line, because she's just, every time she's attacked, as long as her clone isn't ignored, if they kill the clone, she'll make another clone, teleport off again. So she's kind of trying to avoid the damage so she can still do stuff, which is really useful, because as long as Warp Mage is alive, she can keep using that white skill and doing lots of damage. So that white skill is one very important to focus on. Leveling your hero and upgrading that skill to prioritize just to get high amounts of damage from that skill, because Warp Mage will be staying alive to try and give you an opportunity to win. Warp Mage also transfers her threat to the clone. So when Warp Mage is attacked, she has a really high amount of threat. She transfers all that threat to the clone, and then the clone will receive a lot of attacks, because the clone can't gain or lose threat from that point. Once whatever threat level this clone is created at, the clone has to stay at until it dies. So most of the time, since Warp Mage is a backline hero, by the time she's getting targeted, she usually has a really high amount of threat, which is nice because the clone will be stuck with that same amount of threat to be targeted throughout the rest of the battle. And then this 4th skill, Explosive Strike, also one that has also from Princess Portal, skills that do damage to a single target also do splash damage to nearby enemies. So only applied to skills, I believe so. So Warp Mage's clone will be able to do splash damage because of Explosive Strike. I believe... Nope, it won't, because it's a basic attack. So the only skill affected by Explosive Strike is going to be the Chakra Bolt. So each of these bolts, when it passes through the center of the enemy and does penetrating damage, it will also do splash damage to other nearby enemies. So if you use this if you time it right, you can use this actually with Oasis Guardian and do some crazy splash damage. A good way to time that is turn your skills onto manual, then manually use Oasis Guardian's main skill to throw everyone into a circle, and then follow with Warp Mage's Chakra Bolt. Make sure you have those both charged before you use them. Oasis Guardian, and then right after Chakra Bolt to do splash damage and to pass that damage all along. And then also, if anyone dies, you can instantly use Chakra Bolt again, probably, just because that 3 seconds, and then the Vigor Mortis, if you have that leveled up enough, you can do some crazy chain attacks and effectively could wipe out the entire team just off of those 2 skills. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, need any tips on heroes or anything else, let me know.